Once upon a time, in a place of carved stone faces, a monster ate a tremendous meal. Its belly was so full that it could not move, so it slumbered. When the monster had digested, it awoke. It raised its curious head into the wind and smelled the despair of people stirring somewhere in the unbroken darkness. The monster licked its blood-caked snout and set off to investigate. The monster walked unhurried through the darkness, following the scent. It grew hungrier and hungrier as the scent got stronger. Its powerful heart pounded with joy as it came upon a great chest. The box reeked with delicious promise. The monster greedily nosed it open. How delectable they would be if only their organs were bursting with fear. The monster toyed with its morsels, tasting their terror-tinged sweat as they skittered between its great big teeth. It laughed as they tickled it with their scrabbling hands, climbing to escape. There was one mouthful that did not taste of terror. She was not tender with despair. She reached between the monster's grasping fingers and freed a shard of stone. She took a deep breath and bellowed into the darkness, hoping her cries would reach someone. Somewhere in the place of stone faces, people raised a lantern to illuminate their doom. They knew they could not survive, yet they struggled just the same. These are the ones that taste best, thought the monster, delighted. Welcome, survivors, to the beginning of our Kingdom Death Monster Dreamkeeper campaign. This is where we have our humble beginnings, at the prologue Crimson Crocodile. Much like the People of the Lantern campaign, the prologue crocodile is an easier version of the level 1 crocodile. It has a movement of 6 and a toughness of 6. It has a specific AI deck with a designated card on top and a specific hit location at the top of its deck. The survivors all start with the basic cloth and founding stone. However, we also get knowledge. There are 4 starting knowledges: darkness, hunger, fear, and despair. Currently, they don't do a whole lot for us. Some are merely theories, which provide no benefit or detriment now, but can level up to become something more. The other 2 here add a new attribute to the game, that is torment and systemic pressure. These traits reduce brain severe injuries and physical severe injuries respectively. Throughout our campaign, we'll be gaining knowledges and trying to level them up by accomplishing their observations. Darkness requires brain damage, hunger requires the aftermath, fear requires regular damage, and despair requires a brain trauma. If we can get those leveled up, we will make our settlements stronger. But for now, we're ready to begin. 2 more things of note. I will be attempting to use the monster controller token, as insanity is a vital resource in this campaign. And if I can get more of it by using it, let's go for it. The second thing of note is that because insanity is so vital for this campaign, all the survivors start with 1 insanity. And of course, everyone gets their starting survival for getting their names. We have Mandy, Randy, Sandy, and Jeff. Jeff will become the monster controller first because I want him to suffer damage. So, we begin. With a 21,000 Newton bite, it picks a threat with the most tokens in range or the closest survivor. Naturally, everyone's 5 spaces away, so we go like that. It has a speed of 2, meaning I roll 2 dice, and an accuracy of 3, meaning it needs 3s or better in order to hit me. And that's 2 hits. Now this would be 21 damage to the chest and waist. However, it says before damage, if you are terrified of death, you cannot avoid this attack. Otherwise, you hear the zealous finger strumming and escape the bite's full power. Reduce the damage in this attack to 1. So I'll take both of those hits, putting my chest to a light injury and my waist to 0. Now I count that as 2 different instances of damage. So we're already on our way to leveling up fear. With that, let's have Jeff go. He's going to throw his founding stone. This will cause an automatic hit, which will be an automatic crit. It's the 99 finger spine. Now this location is impervious, which means that we cannot wound this location. However, because it does have a critical wound here, we can resolve its effect. Its effect says, your attack shatters a translucent scab covering the stone faces on the monster's back. Find the sparkling upper back coagulated hit location and set it aside. Then reshuffle the hit location deck and place the card on top. So here's the location in question. The monster has 3 traits. One is Enchanted Flesh, Immortal Presence, and Adrenal Adept. Enchanted Flesh says that whenever I get hit locations that introduce coagulated hit locations, I draw from this specific deck. It has these icons on it that show the spot that survivors need to hit in order to successfully wound this location. If you're not attacking and hitting that location, this wound will be an automatic failure. So we need to now position ourselves in such a way that we can hit that spot. Not a problem. This is also persistent injury, the exposed back. The monster panics, making it easier to hit. It gets -1 evasion token, which is fantastic for us. We now have Randy go in. And I can even have Jeff move over a bit, just in case. Randy goes in, and he's hitting with his founding stone. Normally hits on 7s, now becomes 6s thanks to the -1 evasion. That's 1 hit. And look at that, the sparkling upper back. This says we get +3 to wound this location, plus the founding stone's regular strength modifier of 1 means I have 4. Plus a dice roll, I need to meet or beat 6, so I'm looking for 2s. An 8 will wound, taking our first AI card, putting it into the wound stack. Our first successful wound. Now, we need everyone else to get into position. Mandy going into the rear, hitting with the founding stone makes it originally 7s, becomes 6s, becomes 5s. That's 1 hit. To the blushing stubby knee. I'm looking for 5s. That is a 6, which is a wound. Now we have to activate its compulsive reaction. It cannot be canceled by any means. Currently don't have any means to cancel reactions, but if I did, this even supersedes that. The monster recoils, its blood instantly congealing into hard translucent scabs. Archive this, draw a coagulated hit location and place it on top of the hit location deck. Archived means get it out of the game. I still do manage to wound. That's another wound out. But now we have to get a coagulated hit location and see where it goes. So now I can't wound the monster unless I'm right in its face. I can't reach that, so I'll have Sandy go over and pick up that survivor corpse. On a 2, she gets +1 insanity, and we archive the corpse. And I forgot to give Jeff his insanity for being targeted as the monster controller. So he's at 2, and Sandy's at 2. With that, our turn is over, and Sandy is now the monster controller. Delighted when this comes into play, draw an AI card. The monster can barely contain its delight as a pungent foam leaks from its maw. While this is in play, the monster has -1 accuracy and +1 speed for each terrified survivor. Currently don't have any, don't have to worry about that just yet. When a survivor dies, the monster is knocked down in excitement. Discard Delighted. Okay, let's remember that. And then we have whipping and slamming. It's a repeat card, means after we do this, we'll put this back to the top of the AI deck and keep repeating it until it is gone. We place a token on this card and target the closest survivor. Now we have 2 potential targets here, and I get to pick who it is. Doesn't matter who I pick because I'm not going to get any special bonuses, and he's even going to hit them both. It's a synchronic attack, meaning that it's going to hit them both at the same time. This is normally 1 speed, but it gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each token on it. We put 1 on there, so it actually is speed 2. Accuracy of 3. This will hit both survivors, but we determine the damage individually. So Mandy's going to get hit on her waist and on her chest. We'll take both of that, although it is 2 damage. Yeah, we'll take it. The chest, actually no, we can dodge that, can't we? Let's spend a survival to dodge the chest. And then we take the waist, putting us to a light injury on the waist. For Randy, a chest and a head injury. Now we're definitely going to dodge that head injury and take the chest, putting him to a heavy injury, knocking him down. Now, it says after damage, which they both took damage, they'll both suffer bleed 1 and knock back 5. So that is the pot right. This now goes on top of the AI deck, and now we have to contend with it. We can have Sandy go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right in the face. That's where we need you to be. Come on, hit him. 6s. That's 1 hit. We get +3 strength to hit the sparkling snout. Another 2. And that's a 9, and that's whipping and slamming out. Okay, not bad so far. Unfortunately, we can't get Randy up, so he kind of has to deal with that. We can have Sandy go in 5. She wasn't knocked down. Hit him with the founding stone. That's 1 hit again. A trap. All survivors are doomed. The monster's many fingers gesture in a hypnotic wave. The attacker gains the terrified survivor status card. That's not good. Not only that, the monster accelerates your heart rate. Gain the death count survivor status as well. If you already have it, place a death count token on the card. When the monster giggles, Fool moves away from all survivors and turns to face the attacker. So let's see, that'll be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and turn like this. And now we do have a terrified survivor. Terrified says that they are guardless, which means they cannot ignore hits. So dodging is no longer an option, though she doesn't have any survival to do that, so it didn't matter. Death count says at the end of each round, get +1 survival and place a death count token on this card. You may surge an additional time each round for each token on this card. When there are 5+ tokens on this card, your heart bursts, killing you instantly. Unfortunately, I don't have access to surge, so I don't think I can do that. So until then, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all I can do. Jeff here only has his fists and teeth. He does hit twice. And we have the blushing brow and the blushing body. I'll go for the brow because it would disarm me, but I'm using my fists and teeth. You can't disarm that. Wounding you on a 6. A 7 will do it. It is also a compulsive reaction, which means we archive this and draw coagulated hit location. Now this will be important for the next hit location, but not this one. Still looking for a 6. A 10. That's a wound. Unfortunately, there is no critical wound here, but it is still a wound, but that's it. Because there is no critical wound section on this card, I don't get to cancel other reactions. Like this one. The monster rolls. Without turning, full move the monster to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On collision, survivors will suffer 2 damage. That is not the case. While rolling, the monster's back fingers open as it shuffles stone faces onto its back. If the 99 spine hit location is in a discard pile or in play, place it on top of the hit location deck. So that's interesting. We could try and break it again, but I don't know. He goes. And that means that the monster controller passes over to Sandy. Crimson Snap. Threat with the least insanity in range. Now I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That could only be you. Because you are not in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can't get you in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, because of his delightfulness, he has -1 accuracy and +1 speed. Speed now is 3, with an accuracy of 4. 1 miss, thankfully. But he's going to get hit in 2 places. The waist and the head. Yeah, we say dodge to the head, and we take 2 damage to the waist, putting you to a heavy injury, knocking you down, but you have suffered your 3rd instance of damage. So Fear 1 now evolves into Fear 2. Fear 2 says, when a monster targets you, you may spend 1 survival to suffer the Flee brain trauma, limit once per showdown. It's not the biggest of deals, but it's a new tool in our arsenal. Maybe one day it'll be really useful, and other survivors can learn this potentially as well. Now, after damage, if you are terrified, you are devoured whole dead. You are not terrified, you are okay. Now, at the end of the monster's turn, you get back up. So, what do we want to do now? The problem is we have that darn location, which is impervious. I think I first need Sandy here to actually get rid of her terrified. If you have 1 insanity at the very minimum, you can spend an action to get rid of it. We do that, it's gone. Now all she really has is movement. She can get to the rear here just to not become a threat. Sandy can try and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She can't get in range to this location here, which is the coagulated hit location. So I'm wondering, do I want to throw the 2nd founding stone, give him another -1 token, and try and potentially get some easy damage that way? I'm not sure. You, though, can only go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you throw it, man? Do you throw it? Are you that crazy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't reach. It's a big question. Let's throw it. Another founding stone, which means 99 finger spine, critical wound, striking upper back, back on top, back to being a persistent injury, and you get a second -1 evasion token. Now I'm out 2 founding stones, but I think this will come back to me in a good way. You, however, need to 1, 2, 3 kind of go somewhere just to get closer. End of my turn. Randy becomes the monster controller. Mocking Bite, closest threat facing in range. That becomes Sandy. We'll then move and attack. So we'll go 1, 2, just like that. 2 attacks hitting on 3s. That's 1 miss and 1 hit. After damage, the monster will give you the Terrified card. I don't want to do that, so I can dodge it. So not terrified. And we have an exposed side here. And with 2 -1 evasion tokens, we're more than likely to hit that side. 1, 2, 3. 7 becomes 6, becomes 5. That's 2 hits. We have the Sparkling Upper Back and the Sparkling Crimson Gills. So both of them are +3 to wound. Plus my +1, that's 4. To wound on 6s would make it 2s. To the left, that's a wound. To the right, that's a wound. The monster has 2 wounds remaining. Mandy, who has her death count going up, needs to finish this off. 7 becomes 6, becomes 5, becomes 4 to the blind spot. And a 2 and a 1. Yup, that's Kingdom Death. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go here. Jeff, hit him with the Fist and Teeth. No. Okay, we are having a bad time here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. 8 becomes 6 to hit. It's only 1 hit. The Pale Underflesh. Looking for 6s. That's a 5. No. Our first failed wound location. Okay, well, the monster only has 1 AI card. What is it? The 21,000 Newton Bite. Now let's see. Jeff becomes the new monster controller. Mandy is on her 2nd tick of death count. Closest threat, or a threat with the most tokens in range. I think that is her. She has death count tokens. Right? Yeah, death count tokens. That's a token. Everyone else doesn't have any sort of token. She also has bleed tokens, so he really wants you. 2 attacks hitting on 3s. That's 2 hits. Chest and chest. Now this is 1 damage each. I can dodge 1, thanks to death count also giving me survival each round, although the limit is still 1, so I can only really get 1. So I might as well spend it. Boom. I only take a light injury. Okay. So, Sandy, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get you right here in the booty hole. Founding Stone, 7, 6, 5, 4. 1 hit. Blushing Twisted Back on 5s. 1. The monster's plated scabs grind and crack, spraying pungent ichor. Bleeding wounds pucker and sizzle, erupting with fresh pain. All adjacent survivors suffer brain damage equal to the number of bleeding tokens. To their number of bleeding tokens. So that means Mandy here has a bleed token. She takes 1 brain damage. When she takes a brain damage, darkness goes up 1 observation. Randy also has a bleed token, and everyone else is in the clear. Okay, that was not what I wanted from you. Who else? Only Mandy has a founding stone. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Fist and teeth, 6s. That's 1. It's a parry location, which doesn't matter unless something says that it matters. Still looking for 6s. 7. That's a wound. So that means 21 Newton Bite is out. Now, with no more cards in the AI deck, we need to do 1 more damage and we're in the clear. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Fist and teeth, 6s. That's a great roll, but you should have done that now. Please no trap, please no trap, please no trap. Okay. Full move the monster. So we'll do the blushing foot knuckles just in case I miss. Because the blushing bulging neck will cause him to move forward. Not a good time. Crit. Not that it has a crit location, but that is a wound, meaning the monster is dead. Just like that. Oh, alright. Not bad. Was a little touch and go there, but I think we did pretty good. We are now in the aftermath, which means hunger now goes to hunger 2. Hunger 2 says when you depart, get +1 survival. That's not bad. And to level it up, you need to consume 3 times. Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. Who knows? But what I do know is that we'll get 4 basic resources and 4 monster resources. We get a tiny ear, vein glass, pale fingers, pale flesh. Then we get monster bone, monster hide, monster hide, monster bone. Okay. I don't think that's really what I want, but we'll make do. And because this is the first time we've killed a crimson crocodile, we will get the Crimson Crockery settlement location. Say goodbye to the Crimson Crocodile. We'll be seeing a lot more of you very soon. Alright, so let's set up our settlement phase. We use this mini board here just to save some space. It's also worth noting that every survivor got 1 hunt XP. Good for them. They return. And we gain 4 endeavors, 1 for each returning survivor. And then we have to update the timeline. That means we take our settlement sheet here, mark off the first checkbox, and follow each event in order. The first event is the first Crimson Day. The survivors trust their kill, putting their backs to the bloodbath they set off, grimly dragging the squelching hulk into the darkness. Drawn by a soft glow, they approach a distant form. On a deep instinctual level, they know this place is safe, and they make it their home. Roll 1d10 to determine your starting population. A 10. 10 unnamed survivors plus the returning survivors, so we have a total of 14 survivors. Archive the survivor's cloth starting gear and gain 4 bloody cloth starting gear. The next part says the first Crimson Day settlement event will not be used again during this campaign. Do not include it in your settlement's event deck. Nominate a survivor to gesture over the roar of snores. We'll pick Mandy. The survivor approaches a mass of dreaming bodies held aloft by a motionless giant. The snoring forms a dense roar that drowns all other sound. The nominated survivor's voice is swallowed by the din. The settlement gains the dreamless language innovation, but they find it ineffective for communicating around the sphere of snores. They learn to communicate without sound. The settlement gains the silent dialect innovation. The nominated survivor gets +2 understanding. Search the innovation cards for the dreamless language and silent dialect, put them in play, and record this on your settlement record sheet. The survivor agrees that they must hunt to live. Add the prologue monster, Crimson Crocodile, to your quarry list. Dreamless language is the innovation that sparks the creation of the innovation deck. Very similar to all other campaigns, Dreamless language is survival element +1 and gives us access to encourage. Silent dialect here is new. It gives us the fist pump survival action, which is exactly like encourage, except encourage doesn't work on deaf survivors and silent dialect doesn't work on blind survivors. Makes sense. The innovation deck represents the potential cultural and technological growth of your settlement. It will grow throughout the campaign as you gain new innovation cards. Find the 6 innovation cards with language consequences listed underneath their title: ammonia, drums, hovel, and a lantern, paint, and symposium. Shuffle these 6 cards to form your settlement innovation deck. Place it face down in the designated space on the settlement's board. Don't have a settlement board here for that because I'm using the smaller version, but here are the cards. Shuffled, great. The innovation deck is persistent. Make sure to preserve the unique combination of cards in your deck between play sessions. The settlement gathers around the giant guardian. Exhausted, the nominated survivor nestles in the overflowing robes of the encumbered creature. It remains still, enthusiastically motioning for others to join. The survivor names their settlement's guardian the Dream Keeper. Search the settlement location cards for the Keeper of Dreams and place it face up in your play area. The Keeper of Dreams is the source of all innovations and further locations the settlement will develop. Huddled in the Dream Keeper's robes, the sudden horror of existence is replaced by a spreading sense of calm. Under the droning thrum of snores and sighs, they drift off into dreamless sleep. Remove any disorders. I wonder if that is for everyone, but it doesn't matter. I have no disorders. The nominated survivor gains the Grounded ability. Grounded. At any time, you may set your insanity to 0, 1, or 2. Limit once per year. Keeper of Dreams. It is like the other hub settlement locations. It allows us to innovate and will be the branch to build the other locations. There's a new endeavor here at the bottom. Don't need to worry about that because it requires ammonia. Next is our first meal. Nominate a survivor to raise a drink. We'll pick someone new. It doesn't say it have to be a returning survivor, so let's pick, let's name them Sarah. Raise a drink. The settlement gathers for their first meal. The nominated survivor raises their hands to mark the settlement's unity with a sanguine sip. Communal consumption benefits the ARC survivor's collective cognition. Build the collective cognition rewards deck, ordering the numbered cards with the lowest value on top. If duplicate numbers appear, use only one of each value. Include only CC monster reward cards for monsters in your campaign. Collective cognition flourishes based on the variety and challenge of defeated monsters. When a monster is defeated, update the settlement victories section on the ARC settlement record sheet to determine changes to the collective cognition. The survivors digest their feast, gain 1 collective cognition. Record this on the ARC settlement's record sheet. Collective cognition imparts its first reward. Gain the CC reward card marked with 1. The nominated survivor begins a discourse. So, here's the deck. We now have collective cognition 1. We now have the facets of existence. Attain tier 1 philosophies. When you attain philosophies, they become available in your campaign. Return to the first meal to build the starting philosophy deck. So now, this is set off to the side, and we will return, and let's learn about philosophies. Discourse. The survivors examine the facets of existence through many lenses. Spirited debate erupts in the settlement as the survivors compare their viewpoints. Build the philosophy deck. Take 2 random tier 1 philosophy cards and the core philosophy card Dreamism, and set aside the starting philosophy card Survivalism. If there is no core philosophy for your campaign, include an additional tier 1 philosophy. Shuffle the cards and place Survivalism on top. Put the philosophy deck into play. Okay, there are 4 tier 1 philosophies. So I get 2 of them at random. Plus survivalism has to go on top. So there we have it. The survivors share frantic reenactment of their tactics. Build the starting knowledge deck. Find Darkness 1, Despair 1, Fear 1, and Hunger 1. If any of these advance to a higher level during the prologue showdown, replace the card with higher level achieved. Shuffle these cards and place the knowledge deck into play. Okay, so now we can just take all of this, and there we go. We have this little sideboard. Not that it's really necessary. The nominated survivor gains a random knowledge from the deck. They focus and ponder the darkness. Okay, we have 4 cards in here. They get Fear 2. No, that's not great. It's something, but I'd rather they get something else. Ponder the darkness. With the sudden acceleration of culture, the nominated survivor sees the path unfolding before them. Surviving the darkness is paramount. They gain Hunt XP up to their first milestone, 2, and adopt a philosophy. When ARC survivors reach their first Hunt XP milestone, they adopt a philosophy by drawing the top card from the deck. The nominated survivor adopts survivalism. Open the survivalism philosophy book and follow the directions on the starting page. Use an ARC survivor record sheet to record their Hunt XP milestones, their neurosis, and tenacity, the tenet knowledge they cannot lose or exchange. After recording, shuffle tenacity into the knowledge deck. The nominated survivor reaches the first rank of survivalism as their perception of the darkness is clarified. Turn to rank 1, read it aloud, and resolve the rules. During future settlement phases, survivors who reach new Hunt XP milestones will adopt philosophies and advance others during the develop step. Okay, that's a lot. But here we have survivalism, little booklet. We turn to the first page, and then we'll record their neurosis, their tenacity, tenet, their new milestones, and then we'll advance to the next page. So let me do a quick little jot down of all this. Selfish says, whenever you encourage another survivor, roll 1d10 on a 6+. You don't encourage, keep your survival, you can't encourage again. If it's possible to use a meat shield to avoid harm, they must use it. Okay? And tenacity here is, when you depart, gain a survivor token. You may spend a survivor token at any time to gain 1 survival. And the observation says, if you use the survivor token, get +1 observation, and do it twice, you'll level this up. Not bad. Seems pretty easy. Proceed to rank 1. Survivalism. Only you. You are alone. All that matters is your survival. Adapt to survive. Get +1 Lumi and roll 1d10. A 10. Cool. Your survival is in your hands alone. You must make them strong. Gain strength training knowledge. However, you exercise past the point of exhaustion and lose all of your survival. Okay? That's fine. That's it. So let's see. Strength training. Strength training here is a theory. If we wound the monster, we'll get +1 observation. If we wound the monster 6 times, we'll get strength training 2. So, unfortunately, right now, it is useless. But, hopefully, it'll grow. Okay. After the first meal, extinguish guideposts. Just outside the settlement, they gather to form a deadly pact. A death pact is formed. They will return with a kill or not at all. Gain the death pact innovation in the outskirts settlement location. Replace a random basic hunt event card with the scout basic hunt event card. An ill-omened stench spreads through the settlement. Following the smell, the survivors reach an extinguished guidepost. The foul winds moans through the darkened lamp. On the ground, the survivors find a waxy gray object. Its eye-watering smell prevents them from seeing it clearly. Gagging and weeping, they roll it in layers of cloth until the smell is merely repulsive. The survivors contrive a use for the dreaded pack. Nominate a survivor to accompany the hunting survivors. The dreaded burden is lifted onto their shoulders. They are the scouts this lantern year. They feel a grim responsibility. Gain the scout gear grid. The scout must use it instead of a normal gear grid. Then roll 1d10. 8. As the bundle settles onto the scout's back, it wriggles into place. This feeling is unpleasant. The scout gains +3 insanity. So yeah, this will be a new person. So this will be Jose. Okay, with that done, that's updating the timeline. After that, then we update the death count. Doesn't exist. Check milestones. I don't believe we have any. The current milestones is population reaching 0, population reaching 15, first child is born, first time death is updated, and survivor reaching +3 understanding. None of that has happened. Okay. So now we can develop. We have 4 endeavors. We will definitely spend 1 to innovate. And that'll take up our tiny ear, our monster bone, and our monster hide. Unfortunately, we did not get many organs this year, which will be a slight problem. But we get to draw 2 cards and pick one. Symposium or Hovel? I think we'll pick Symposium. This will get a lot of choice over our future innovations. Speaking of, I forgot to grab the Death Pact innovation. When survivors perish on the hunt or are defeated in the showdown, do the story event Logistics of Death. And we get the Outskirts location, which allows us to build a lot of scout gear. I don't think I have the luxury of the excess resources to make them, but there it is. So, with the Symposium, we have to add Symposium consequences. That'll be Nightmare Training and Storytelling. Those go in for future innovations. Now, what to do with all of our resources? I say Vein Glass, Pale Fingers, that becomes a Blood Glass Guitar. A Blood Glass Guitar is speed 2, accuracy 6, 0 strength. However, it introduces a new keyword here known as honed 4. Honed 4 says it actually gives you a X modifier, which in this case is 4, until you hit a super dense or parry hit location. So those are pretty rare, which means that you'll get a strong weapon until you hit that location. Knowing me, I'm going to hit that thing as soon as I can, but you know, the idea is you have a pretty good weapon until you hit it. Plus, it's paired, meaning that I can use 2 of them, put their speed together, and actually get a lot of value from it. It also has a secondary ability that says when you have 3+ bleeding tokens, you get +2 evasion, but are guardless. Guardless meaning you can't dodge or ignore hits. But for now, that's pretty good. Then I have a Pale Flesh and a Monster Bone. We'll use those to make Crimson Slippers. It's simply 2 armor to the leg location. Then we can use an endeavor here to build the Skinnery. And from there, use the Monster Hide we have to build a Rawhide Vest. Then we have another endeavor to build the Organ Grinder. I don't want to build the Bonesmith just yet because I'm going to gamble and use our last endeavor here to Augury. Maybe we can get that kid and reach a new milestone. It doesn't matter who is doing it because it doesn't matter. A 5 will give that survivor +1 survival. I'll give it a Mandy, and that's fine. That is all of our resources used up and all of our milestones achieved to the best of our ability. That is it for year 1. I think we're off to a pretty good start, although we are missing 1 weapon for one of our characters. but hopefully this guitar just is so awesome, it's not going to be an issue. So, if you're excited to see where this goes, to see how our knowledge expands, and the rest of the mysteries inside the gambler's chest, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel to be up to date for when those videos come out. I'm going to need your help on this one, so please comment below with any suggestions you have and to keep me on my toes for any mistakes that I make. Please help me create the best experience for you guys, and I promise that I'm going to finish this campaign. I know I have a very bad tendency to not finish projects, but as I've said before, if you watch the in-depth look at the gambler's chest, I got a new house, and so I have a studio room to myself to record whenever I want, no problem. That was an issue where I lived previously. It is no longer, so we can play to our heart's content. So join me next time when we hunt down a proper crimson crocodile. I will try to bring in the veteran survivors so that they can get their second hunt XP and adopt philosophies when they return to the settlement. The settlement's name is Perseverance, because we're gonna finish this, I swear. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching.